Oh, hello, everybody. Where is my thing? Why is it so zoomed in? Oh, there we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live with the Paper Pusher. I am the Paper Pusher, Tracey. I'm an independent Stampin' Demonstrator. I am wired for sound today. I'm just going to warn you right now. I just had an hour and a half long bank appointment that like I ran late, so I'm rushing. I didn't even get a chance to finish everything today. The annual review of everything, and my brain is just like, ooh. Plus, I'm planning for a trip, and I was asking about money and conversions and euros, and so I hope I can just get back to where we're supposed to be. Because, whew, if not, this could be like 3 hours long, which I'm going to try not to make it. Let's have some more tea. I'm just waiting for everything to catch up because, as always, nothing goes smooth. Every single time I go into Zoom, it says Zoom is not responding. Would you like to report this? And I hit no, don't send because it takes too long. And so I close that error message out, and the thing instantly pops open. Like it's every time. I'm like, are you just doing this to see if I really want it? It's annoying. Okay, so I have my comments up. If you're there, say hi. Where are you from? What do you want to know? Demo or not? Whatever you want to tell me. Sometimes I don't notice them, but I'm really trying to get better at noticing. I don't get a lot of comments, so once I get going, sometimes I don't stop. But I promise I will try. Oh my God. Tea, it's like the cure all for everything. I was raised on tea. My brothers and sister were raised on tea. My nephews, my son. Tea solves everything. Okay. I'm all chill. Let's go. Excuse me. I've also been talking for an hour and a half straight. So, yes, those of you who know me really well, you'll be like, but I am like talked out. So maybe that will be to your advantage today. Okay, so I did do a newsletter, so I'm just going to hit this stuff really quickly. But bonus days. If you earned coupons, now's the time to use them. Don't forget. I sometimes forget I have coupons, and then I'm annoyed afterwards that I forgot about them. Join offer. We're going to talk about that in a minute because we're going to talk about this bad boy. Last chance products that just got updated. I meant to check it the day before, like just have a quick look, not like I'd remember everything. And then look again, like once it updated to see. I think they added more discounts or added discounts to some stuff. So the one thing that I was specifically looking for was the advent calendar, which is regular $136. And when they first posted it in December, and like added it to the list, it was there at $136. When they did the refresh on Tuesday, it's now $108.80, which 22. I'm gonna guess that's like maybe 20% off. But hey, it's saving you almost $30. And if it saves you $30 off the cost of the product, then it saves you $30 worth of shipping and $30 worth of GST. So it's always more. So I think a bunch of the stuff that was previously put there is now reduced even more because they want to clear this stuff out before the whole big annual catalog changeover, which is coming up quickly. When I go to Onstage next month, I will be given a paper copy of the annual catalog. Super excited. Anyway, product of the month. Oh my goodness, you guys. I can't turn the page. Oh, that's not the right one. Just a minute, I got the wrong pages next. I'll keep those off to the side somewhere. I might actually need those. I love this paper. I know it's 2019 because 2019 I did an event and I used the paper in the event. We had this really cool paper. It was brights though. These are more, the colors are more from the subtle family. And I loved that paper. This is what this reminds me of, like these big wavy, oh my goodness, do I love this paper. So this is the February product of the month. This is just a sample they made with it. But so yeah, if you put in $100 order before, so if you want to use your coupons, so you have like 5 coupons, $6, 5 times 6, 30. So you need to have $130 in product. Then you add the coupons so that your total goes down to 100, but you're still at 100. So then you can add this for $5. And this paper is really good because it's 3 sheets each of the 4 designs. So this is like the front side and the back side of the 4 different pieces. I wish I could order more of this. I love this. It's very exciting, but I can only order one, so I can't even order it for you. I've only ordered it for me, but I'm very excited about that paper. Love it. The 2 new kits that came out. So this best ever, which when at first glance, you might look at it and think it's a sporting thing, but there's a sentiment in there for like Happy Mother's Day, Happy Father's Day, best mother ever, best father, or #1 dad, or I don't know what they say, something like that. And then there's a couple sentiments that do say, like, congratulations, you're always #1, and like sort of more of that kind of. So this set is not just a sports set, it's got a lot going for it. And then this one, I ordered this one because look at this stamp set. I mean, I ordered it for the stamp set. I like this one card a lot. The other 2, not as much. I'm allowed to say that. You don't have to like everything. Oops, sorry. The delay on the camera is making me move my thing, and now everything's going wonky. But look at this stamp set. I got it for that alone. Welcome, baby. Happily ever after. Thank you. And then all those little tidbits you can add. Yes, sir, please. And then this little kindly deliver to is like a little stamp you can stamp on the outside of the envelope above where you write the address. So it says kindly deliver to. Oh my God, I love it. So I got those 2. Okay, so that's my stuff. Here's your updates. We're done. Move on to the fun stuff. Where'd it go? Okay, so Stampin' Up. We had the Stamparatus. Before that, the Stamp-O-Magic, but the Stamparatus had to go away, I think, a couple of years ago. So we've been without. And so the new one is out, and it's very exciting. So right now, the only way to get this, unless you were a demo and you ordered it in the last like 2 weeks or whatever it was, because now demos can't order it. Now demos have to wait. I suspect demos and customers are waiting till the annual catalog comes out in May, and then it will be in the catalog, and then you'll be able to order it. Right now, the only way to get it is if you do the join offer. So I've done the math before. You get $135 in product. No, $165 in product for $135. Plus you don't pay shipping and tax, which alone saves you another like $30 or something. And then you get this. This is a $67 little gadget. And you get that for free. So you want more stuff for less money? Join offer is the way to go. You don't have to have a business. You don't have to do any of those things. You can just take the money and run, like they say, the IKEA start the car. You can just get this, never make another order, or you can go back to just being a customer and doing customer orders, or you can order, you get to order till July, like you stay active till July, even if you don't meet the minimums, like all the other stuff, but you get all the perks. You get the pre-orders, you get the free catalog with an order. When the new catalogs come out, your first demo order, you get a free one, you can get the 20%, all the good things. So if you are at all interested in that, drop me a message, we can chat. Because today I got stuff to show you about this thing. I also thought it might help anybody who, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on the Stamparatus because frankly, it's gone. And I haven't decided if I'm keeping mine or selling mine at the retired product sale yet. So I don't know. But this was the old one, right? And it had the little hinge thing. It had the issue with the magnets. They were super strong, and if they snapped together, they broke in half. This is supposed to be one. And it had little foam. And so it had some differences to it, right? And it had lots of good things about it. I brought it out because I have all these little templates and things that I made that I can still use with the new one. So I didn't have to make new ones because I did not have time. So yes, there are some, and I'll try to like point out the differences. And if you do have questions and you want to know what about this versus this, I also thought, I wonder if, because I do that every time I get something new, right? I wonder if. And so I'm going to do the things that may or may not work just to show you whether they work or not. A couple of them I tried. Actually, only one of them I think I tried. The other ones I haven't had time to try because I wasn't supposed to be at the bank as long as I was. I'm supposed to have time in between. I admit I should have taken more time to like play with this ahead of time, but I'm planning a trip and I got train fares and hotels to book and things to plan, and I'm having too much fun, and it tends to take over. The other thing I will tell you that we had this was a suggestion from whenever with the Stamparatus, because with the Stamparatus, when you put it down, you had to like rub on the plate to make it stamp. Well, this one, I don't know if you can, I don't know if you, oh yeah, you can sort of see that, has this like spring action. How about I move all my paper out of the way? I just have lots of pieces of paper so I can play because I I didn't make any of the samples yet. I prepped like a little bit and then I ran out of time. And here my camera's crooked, so how about I put my thing straight? Look at that, there we go. So there's like little springs at the top and the bottom. So instead of having to like push down, really do the whole plate is moving up and down. So I think it's way easier personally, but I also think now you don't need that. So just as a point of interest, they totally work differently. The other one was hinged and would flip open. This one goes like this. So I'm going to show you some bits and pieces and like, and so a lot of these are the same techniques. A stamp positioner is a stamp positioner, right? So I have never seen a MISTI, let alone used a MISTI, but I know that was like before Stampin' Up! Ever had their own, that was the one that everybody always talked about. And everybody's gonna have their opinion. Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. Again, I have no idea because I've never even seen one. I think it looks more like this than I could, because I think when the hinged one came out, that was like revolutionary with the hinges. So I think it was maybe more, but I don't really know. But it doesn't matter. So this is how it comes. We have the big plate, and it has the little. I'm gonna have so much. Seriously, I'm gonna stop doing this eventually, but for right now, it's just too much fun. So it has the big plate. It has these little magnets, which I did watch the Stampin' Up! Video just to see if they told us anything. This is the bottom of the. Oh, I gotta do it so you can see. So when you can see more magnet, that's the bottom. When you can see less magnet, that's the top. So it matters, like they stick either way, but if you put them down upside down, you have to slide them off the edge. You can't use the little tabs. So I think it's kind of a natural thing that you're going to put them the right way because the tabs stick up so that you can pick them back up again. So these magnets, if we were comparing back and forth, love these way more than the other ones. These are so much more user-friendly. And yes, they will snap together because they're magnets, but they don't break because they're awesome. And they are super strong. Like they're really good too. I'm assuming, I never even looked at the bottom of this thing. I don't know. It's super light. Like this part is super light. So it has like the no slip thingy on the back, which is also very nice. But I can't, and it's kind of bendable. So I don't know where the magnet, like what is in there. It must be a super thin sheet of metal or I don't know, something that these magnets are sticking to. However it works, they work fine. They work great. And then this also comes with, and I'm going to show you all these later, but a little thin strip that has 4 little. So the big one, 2 hook onto here, which are like, they're still springy, but they're in the board. And the other 2 are on the end. This one, all 4 pieces are on, like all 4 springs are on this little guy. And you do get instructions, should you choose to read them. I did not, but should you choose to. The only thing I did is I looked at them and I'm like, okay, some pictures, yeah. And then the instructions aren't that, like there's not a lot to it anyways, but so you just got to find your language. Actually, now that I think of it, I should have tried to read the German ones. I'm trying to practice French and German so for my trip. So maybe I'll read those afterwards. But the only thing, I always called it like stepping, like when you do the stepping technique, which I know is not what it's called. So I did read enough to go, oh, repeating pattern. Yeah, that's the good word. But there is like a little bit of instruction. But if you had any kind of stamp positioning tool, you'll figure this out. And then it comes separately, but you can buy a pack of 50 sheets of grid paper. And I will tell you, I know when the Stamparatus first came out, there was no grid paper. Then they added grid paper, and a lot of people are like, whatever, I'll just use my like, you know, the old mats and stuff. You can put any piece of paper down and it worked. This one is more specialized because, and I took one of these off already. So this one has metric on, imperial on one side, metric on the other, but it has this row of holes along the top that goes over top of these holes. There we go. And it holds the paper kind of in place for you, right? So it's a little bit different. I'm going to do this without just to show you. But so this paper is a little more specialized, but we're going to try it later with one of my old templates, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work just fine. So I'm going to put those off to the side for now. I have moved this so it's in better line in my wonky camera, but now I have to scooch. Okay, so what is the whole main point of a stamp positioner? That's right, to position the stamps. It's to get them consistent. If you're doing multiples of things and you don't want to have to keep remembering every time. But I think the biggest thing is alignment. So why is everything white? All of a sudden, I just realized all my paper is white. Things are white. Everything is white, except for this. So sometimes you get like, you just have little strips of papers and you want to get it in and you want to get it in straight and you want to do this. Now I have, I don't know, 50,000 pieces I could make of these labels, because these are just 1/2 inch strips, which is what you get when you cut off to make layers. Lord knows I got strips like this. But let's say, just a minute, I have to put this thing down before I drop it. Let's say you got your paper pumpkin kit, shall we? I have about 6 different, or 7, I don't even know how many. So I'm just going to tell you stuff as we go and we play. So one of the first things, and one of the things that I think is the most useful for this, is getting your stamp where you want it. So when you get your kits, right, and this just happens to be the latest paper pumpkin kit, usually in a kit, and it could be like if I made you a kit or you come to our extravaganza and you get the kit, there's lots of like little pre-cut things. It would work for that too. So if you get your kit, you're likely going to have a sheet like this full of labels. Now I can stamp this freehand as many times as I want, and if I screw up, like I said, I have 49,675 more of them. These ones though are pretty. Oh, okay. So lots of times the ones that come in kits, I thought I had 2 sheets, have like a gold trim on one side, like a gold border. These ones, this is a nice pretty petal pink I'm going to go with. Nope, bubble bath. Cheat and look. This one has like a little bubble bath. I'm going to pop them out anyway, so I don't know why I'm holding it in there. But so this one has like a little bubble bath trim on the end. And these circles have lots of like postal markings, right? So you don't want to screw these ones up necessarily, because when you flip them over, you can always use the backside, right? Paper has 2 sides, but the backside doesn't have the colors on it. So you want to, these are like one-shot deal, right? So you could do it in various different ways. Now this, of course, I picked the smallest one, but let me pick the slightly bigger one here just because it'll be easier. Well, no, I don't actually know what stamps go with anything. Just a minute. Happy Valentine. Oh, airmail. Sending love. I haven't even looked at this kit. I just opened it now to take these labels up. Yeah, that'll work. I'm gonna use this cute little airmail, or this I'll do Valentine's. What the hell? Okay. So I will also tell you, there's a thing with brand new stamps, right? Sometimes brand new stamps can be sticky. So you can wipe them off with your little chamois, or if you have, like this is sanding block on one side, but the ends of this and this one side of it, this is a nail buffer or something. So this would be for like the buffing part, like on the top. So this one is smooth. So you can just use this. Now, if you've ever done this before and you try to do this, it's very hard. But I found out earlier that you could just stick it to the block and buff it this way, and then you don't have to hold it. So if it sticks, I'll show you what to do, because there's a good chance it's still going to stick, but who knows? So oops, I'm going to move those out of the way. So here's the idea. I'm going to put this down, and I wanted to show you this because all the demos I saw, they were doing this without the grid paper. I wouldn't do it without the grid paper, but I should have done this in a slightly different order, but that's okay. I'm going to put the grid paper down. I'll do it without afterwards, because for me, this one, I want the grid paper. It doesn't really matter. I could have had the grid paper the whole time. I just wanted to show you that they did it without, which I thought was weird, but it worked. So maybe at the end, I'll remember to take the grid paper off. So here's what we're going to do. Ouch. With this tiny, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this. So with this tiny little label, I can put my stamp down, and the beauty of the grid paper, and I think I didn't actually look. No, there are no markings. There's no grid markings on here. There is inches along the right side, and then there's some buried under there too. Just a minute. Oh yeah, so there's inches along the right side and along the top. When you put the grid paper on, you cover them up, and then there's centimeter markings along the top and the side. So, but there's no grids on this. So with the grid paper, I can put my nice little Happy Valentine so it goes straight, and it really doesn't matter how straight it is in this case, because I'm going to make the label fit it. But if you were putting it on a card base, you'd want to make sure it was straight, right? And then, oh, there we go. And then I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to pick it up. Oh, and see, in that case, I did a good job of buffing it because it didn't stick to the paper. Just then I don't have any ink. Oh, look. So that kid has poppy paraded it. So how would I do poppy parade? Because they know what they're doing. I will tell you, and I think it was the same with the other one. I gotta get I buried it. A lot of times I never used to use my Stampin' Spots, and a lot of times I would just like put them in a bag and give them away, or whoever wanted them, because I like the big blocks. But the best thing I ever found, like there's a couple techniques you can use, but for Stampin' Spots is they are so much easier on something like this because it's easier to hit just the stamp. And with the Stamparatus, if you use your big block, well, I'll do it just to show you. And you did that, and believe me, in a class, that was common. Instead of just tap, 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 if you did that, chances are that is going onto your card. Well, with this one, it doesn't seem to do that. I don't know why. I think just because it's more even going up and down. I have no idea. But anyways, it's flipping awesome. Oh, I still need this. Yeah, what am I doing? Okay, so I have my stamp on there now, right? I've picked up my label. So I'm going to go like this. So here's the thing with, and I'll show you the other one in a minute. So this is the thing with this. So I can put this on. I can drop it on. I can do whatever. This thing is a good 1/8 of an inch at least from the paper. Okay, so even putting it on crooked, lining it up, it doesn't matter because it's not touching. Now, when I push down, this is what I did earlier. I'm like, what if I just pushed on the sides? Okay, so this is a small stamp, so it works. When I did that with the other stamp, oops. Now I'm going to move that. When I did that with the other one, it didn't fully stamp, but that's okay because all I had to do was push it back down again and it finished the stamp, because that's the beauty of it, right? If you don't fully stamp. So now I know exactly where this is going to go. I can see it straight. It's all perfect, right? So I'm just making one label. So I'm going to line it up now. I can see that this is perfect and that's there. And so one of the other vast improvements on this one is with the other one, you couldn't have your magnets anywhere near your stamp or they would interfere with it. Like they were just bigger, thicker. They'd get in the way, right? So you wouldn't get a clear image. Well, these ones are thinner than the stamps. So I can put them like right by where I'm going to stamp and they're not going to be in the way. So I'm just going to, oops, I just about dropped that again. I'm just going to ink up again. And I'm going to put this back down. And I'm going to stamp. Ooh, I really inked that up. Oops. And now I didn't factor in the fact that this little line was there, and maybe I should have put it higher, but I wasn't really thinking. Whee. And now I have my perfectly centered stamp. Now you think, well, that's fine, Tracey, but that's a lot of work. That's like one stamp. But here's the beauty. I got 4 of these I want to do, right? Here's another way to do it. If you're making multiples, and this is how I do it. I find, like even before the stamp positioning, I find it really hard to stamp when they're in the like attached still. Because when I'm stamping, when I go to stamp, I can't see the edges as well. So I was always popping mine out. So I recommend popping yours out. But here's the thing. Instead of doing one at a time, if you're doing multiples, here's what you can do. And I will show you in a minute how you do it with a different image. How you make your own, I guess. So here's what I got, right? So I have my little piece of stuff. So now here's what I can do. I can just take my little thing that I just popped them out of. And this time I'm actually going to account for the pink at the bottom. Slide it down a little bit. I'm going to slide it over a little bit so it's actually centered. Okay, so now that's exactly where I want this on the label, right? So I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put this label in here. And I'm going to stamp, stamp, stamp. Oops. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to try not to put quite as much ink as I did the last time. And I'm going to stamp down. And then I'm going to pop this label up. Here's another thing I found, and you'll see it when where to go. When I did my my die cutting earlier, I die cut these things, which have nothing to do with the stamp positioner, but it's the set I was using. And holy cute! These are part of the demos get to order ahead of time. And this is part of the March online exclusives release, which we already got to order. Oh my God, these things are freaking adorable. But I dropped a bunch of them on the floor. So I found out your take a pick tool. Boop. That's how you pick things up. I know it's always like you use it for embellishment. No, you use it to pick stuff up. Okay, so this one I did better because this one I actually accounted for the little colors at the bottom. Well, you have to take my word for it, but you see how it's nicely where it's supposed to be? Then I put the next one in. Yeah, you see how much easier this is? So if you're making a bunch of them, and then I put this down. So I'm going to try again just to see if I can get it to, nope, damn it. See, I can't purposely make it stamp bad because the stamp is too small. But anyways, you get the idea, right? So how about that for not wrecking your little labels? Now, this is when you get them in a kit, which, maybe you have a kit, maybe you don't. But I had to make, I think in the end I made like 40 little tags to attach to a thank you gift for a conference once. And I had to make a little thing that said thank you. So I took this is the paper that comes behind the DSP, like it's just that heavier cardboard. It's not exactly chipboard, but it's thicker than cardstock. It's not super thick. But so this was my other one. And as you can see, I had used this thing to do lots of stamping on before I used it. But this is what I wanted. I needed the thank you to be positioned here on a strip because this thing had stuff over top of it, right? So what I did is I just made my own template, and I can very easily just put this on here if I wanted to. Right? So I could do the same thing. I could just stick my little piece of paper, or you could draw it onto here, it doesn't matter. Right? And I could put it like this and then do the same thing. I just take this is not the right size, but I just take my strip of paper and I tuck it in there, stamp, take it out, stuck it in there, right? So it doesn't have to be a kit, but if you're making multiples or if you want to get the thing in the right position every time, make your own template or use the template that came with the kit. Now you can do the same thing. I gotta get it. Because I was showing you what it was like, I made a big mess on my thing. Now I could use my this thing, Stampin' Scrub. Oh, I knocked it backwards instead of pulling it forwards. I could use my Stampin' Scrub, but because I just made such a big mess, I'm just going to use a baby wipe so that I can throw it away afterwards, and then I don't have to have, because otherwise I'll be covered in red ink by the time we're done. So I am just going to wipe off the ink. Now, most of the time, and I will show you here, most of the time, this baby wipe is not actually that wet. It's the last one in the container and it's not that wet. There we go. Most of the time, if you just go tap, 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 you're not actually going to hit, like I purposely rocked it onto the thing, but I can do this and I'm not hitting. Oh, I hit a little bit there maybe. I still, oops, that's upside down. I still like to use my paper to make sure that I'm getting like my stamp as clean as possible before I use my little spongy thing, so I don't have as much ink in my spongy thing. I forget the name, chamois. See, this one's wet, it works like a charm. Okay, so that is one way. What did I do with my kit before I lose this little Happy Valentine's Day stamp? Actually, you know what I just realized? It doesn't actually say Happy Valentine's Day. It says Happy Valentine's. I kind of like that. And see what I said? Because I'm going to get it everywhere otherwise. That's because that chamois is really wet. So let's just grab a Kleenex and dry that off. Okay. I am covered in red. Let's see how well we do. Okay. I'm going to close that red. The other thing that might just be what you're trying to do is you're just trying to get, like, positioning wise, and there's a bunch of different things on here. My chair is super squeaky. All right, I have to go back out a little bit. Why are you not changing? There we go. Just gonna keep moving things, I guess. There's extra things on here that, or an extra thing, I guess, that wasn't on the other one. So this is a template I made, right? And it's for one of the techniques. And this one works for smaller things, so you can do like, and I'll show you it in a minute. But actually, I wonder if that's the same size as what I used. Nope, but close enough. But you notice how it's got this point in it, right? So this machine actually comes with Now I'm going to take this off just so I can show you. This little mark here. I don't know why I keep making sound effects. Lost my. Anyways, I don't know how obvious it is, but there's this triangle here, right? It shows you like the corner of your paper. So these are the big pegs that the machine sticks on, or like the plate sticks on. And these little tiny pegs are what the paper sticks on, the grid paper. But it also holds your cardstock. So one of the things they were all showing is you can do this with your paper. Now, if I want to get this, now photopolymer stamps have certainly made stamp placement a whole lot easier, haven't they? I'm going to use this one without treating it so I can show you what happens when it sticks. But so you could do it this way. So it is at a bit of an angle, but it really doesn't matter. And if you need to, do this, right? So if you want to get this just right, like you know what you want to put on it. So you want to have it straight and you want to have it in like centered this way, and you want to have the same width down here, but you want to leave a little extra room here at the bottom for, I don't know, something cute. Actually, what's in that stamp set? I'm going to move this down to the bottom because I'm going to put something else above it. Right, so you can do this, like, so it doesn't have to be on a label to get the position right. So you decide, okay, that's where I want this to go. That's exactly where I want it to go. Now, you would especially want to do this if you're making 10 of these things, because then you don't have to do that every card. So now I just do, oh, see, okay, so sometimes the stamp will stick. I'm never going to get the stamp to stick, apparently. But if it does, the beauty of this is you got these little pegs, so you just put everything back where it is, because if it pulls your paper up because the stamp's a little sticky, it doesn't pull it completely off. It just moves it slightly. So you just push it back up where it was, nice and snug against the post, put the thing down, we're good to go. I'm going to do those in yellow with some green. So I'm going to grab green. And let's grab this one. I have no plan. I'm just winging it. This stamp set, oh my God, I'll show you in a minute. I just have too many things piled on top of it right now. So because this is brand new and because I didn't treat it, this may or may not stamp right. Because I'm trying to make it not stamp right, you know it's going to, but let's try. So this is the one where when it was bigger and I did this, it didn't work as well. Oh, see, this one did not. So you see how it's stamped. It kind of looks like I did an ombre, but I did not do an ombre. I just didn't have enough ink on the one side. So we can do this. So we go back in now. Move my stamp counter. I actually don't think it was that I didn't have ink. I think it's that my stamp pad's not completely even. So again, I can do this. I drop it down, doesn't make a difference. Doesn't even hit it. And now, so part of it was probably pushing from here because you really do want to push from the middle. Now I'm going to push there, and now it lined up. And I caught the part that I didn't catch before, right? So it doesn't have to be. And like I said, I was a little surprised when I saw them, like the Stampin' Up people demoing it with nothing here. Because I've been taught that you want to have some cushion. So I don't know if it's because there's like this little cushion on the back, which doesn't seem like much. Like when I push this, it doesn't seem like it's moving. But somehow the photopolymer works just on here. There's not even a piece of paper. I don't know. Magic, I guess. Okay, so this one I have an idea. We'll use that for something else. Okay, so that's just like doing your stamp positioning part. Oops. These things are pretty handy if you have arthritis in your hands, or if you have tremors, or I know people with both. It's not so uncommon. And even just as you're aging, or even if you're just a perfectionist, and you want, right? So a lot of people, this could help them out greatly. Like I know for my mom, this would help her with arthritis in her hands. Because then she's not trying to hold the block and trying to make sure it's even. And that way you also don't get frustrated, right? Because if you put it down, like with the other block, if you stamp it, and it's not quite right, well, good luck going back over, even with photopolymer. Good luck going back over and doing it. But with this, you're like, no problem. Ink it up again, push it back down again, right? So I think this is this has lots of just helpful uses, not let alone techniques. If you are doing a bunch of stuff out, I'm not actually sure if I took out the next one. So if you're doing big stamps, did I take one of these out here? No, I did not. Okay, so this, I can't think right off the top of my head. You know what stamps that I want though? I'm just going to take the retired one because it'll be faster. Look at that. They're alphabetical, and it happens to be called More Wishes, which is right on the end of one. Okay, there we go. See what happens when you clean your stamp room. So if you have a stamp like this, not sure what battle this thing's been through that all the stamps are knocked everywhere, but so if you have like big solid type stamps like this word, this Christmas stamp is like big solid letters, like it's substantial there. I guess I could show you that way, it's easier to see. Something like that, this comes in very handy because these ones are a little bit harder. You can get it right the first time. Sometimes you can absolutely get it right the first time. If you're doing lots, you tend to like, if you start to go too quick, that's when you screw up. But if you have a big solid stamp like this and you want to only do it once, then this is a great idea for something big like that. The other big that it is like super helpful for is a background stamp, right? Like these huge background stamps. Now, I will admit, as soon as I thought, I should do this, I'm like, do I have a current background stamp? And I don't think I do. I also don't know if any of the current background stamps are photopolymer because they're switching everything over to photopolymer. But I don't know that I've actually ever seen anybody use a photopolymer background stamp, like watching like other people's craft or whatever. So I don't know if any of them yet have made it to the photopolymer, but any new background stamp would be. But I do know that one of the questions that came up was because of how this works. And like with the other one, you had, with the old one, you had a piece of foam you put in if you were using photopolymer. And if you weren't, you took it out and you could use your cling and that would make up the difference in height. Well, this doesn't have that. So the big question that came out, and we're about to find out because I haven't actually had a chance to try it, was, but I know what people online said, was, I'm just putting this down because you know what? I don't want to be cleaning this off or staining this, so I'm putting the paper down. There we go. So what they had said was, yes, it works for photopolymer, but because it's thicker, it's going to touch right away. So I haven't actually tried that. So we're going to try it. I'm using the retired stamp just because, like I said, I don't think I have a new one. So here's the other thing I like about the grid paper. So if I'm going to put this down, and I mean, as long as I place the stamp at the same wonky angle as I put the paper, it would work out. But my brain works better if like this is driving me nuts to keep my positioner crooked so that it looks straight on the screen because apparently my camera's crooked. But I can use this. And you'll see, you can see I did it on many of the other ones. I like to put this straight. I also find it's even. So this is not exactly centered on the paper, but I'm doing it so the lines are lined up. Because if I'm doing a bunch of these, so I'm not doing it up in this corner, just because if for whatever reason if you want to do it this way, instead of like pushing it up here where you have something to knock it against, I would just do this, right? This is what I would do. So I've made little pen marks on my paper and you can see this is, so these I saved because you can reuse them, right? That one was the step for the leaves. That's where I started my paper. This one here was if I was doing it portrait or landscape, right? Like I have these and I kept them because you can reuse them. So now I know that this is the outside squares on my thing. So if I'm stamping or if I'm going to do a bunch of these, I can take this out. So this gets knocked or I take it out. Well, when I go to put it back down again, I know that I'm putting this corner and this corner. That's the lines that I lined up with. And I've just marked the squares that it should be inside of. Now, this one happens to fit perfectly on the grid paper. If I was doing a bigger size or a wonky size or whatever, where it didn't exactly line up, you could literally take your pen and and off to the side and trace around it so that every time you could line your thing back up properly. So here's the thing. Again, I told you, we're just winging it. I didn't do this ahead of time. So here's my question. If I want this size of background stamp, where do I put my magnets? If I want the whole thing covered, where do I put my magnets? Because if I put my magnets here, they're not going to stamp. And I'm going to get my magnets all dirty. So My guess is, and I swear to God, I was just telling you things that I do. I think I was onto something because now it's marked. So if I have to do this twice, I know where to put my thing back because I'm going to do it without the magnets because I don't know where to put the magnets. I think the actual answer is if I want this size, I start with a bigger piece of paper, put the magnets on the edge, stamp it, and then cut it down to size. I think that's the actual answer, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go without anything. So I don't think it really matters. I'm just going to lay this down over top because I don't know any better. And I'm going to put this down. Yeah, see, I keep straight. You guys are going to have to look at crooked, sorry, it's driving me nuts. But I'm going to pick this up. Now, when I go to pick this up, I'm not pushing nearly as much as I was on the other one. So I've knocked my thing sideways, which of course I did, but that's okay. So I'm going to do this. You know what? I don't want to stamp on a white piece of paper because I have no idea what color to stamp. I'm going to go with my favorite combination. And this should be the same size, so it should work anyways. Well, here's another thing. You change your mind? Yep, there we go. So now I've got my stamp position. I changed my mind on the color of paper, but hey, look, it still works. So I'm going to put black ink over my red to get my buffalo check. Okay, so I'm doing this, right? Now, you guys, this has nothing to do with the positioner, but you guys know when you do on a big background stamp, if you just go like this, let's see if it'll show up on camera. Not really. You do, oh, here it is. You can see, this is the edge of the stamp pad. You see where you get a very distinct line? Oh, I can see the line there too. So when you're doing something big like this, you want to like move around and tap, 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 because in the end, what you really want to do is you want to ink up your stamp and buffer out those little lines. Okay, so test number one. First thing we're going to try out. I'm just going to pop this down and I'm just going to drop it down. Now, somebody said it hits. I don't think it hits. It doesn't feel like it hits, but I don't actually know. It does hit a little bit. So, because I just dropped it, I can see a little bit of ink at the top. There's nothing on the bottom. The bottom, I think, is a little bit higher because I haven't pushed it down yet. Now, if I did it really carefully, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. But now I'm going to do this. Oh, you know what? If you're using a background stamp, maybe this still is a thing. Of course, if I'm doing this, I'm kind of making it rock, but I guess we're about to find out. Here's the problem with no magnets. You pick the whole piece of paper up. Okay, I actually did pretty good on that. Look at that. So, okay, so for one, this positioner works way better because I rarely have I ever stamped a background stamp like this where it worked exactly. So I have a feeling, like as much as I think I'm lining this up exactly where the other one is, I have a feeling it's not going to be exact. But, and I would go with this. I would never restamp this. This is where I would put the label. But just for you-know-whats and giggles, I'm going to stamp it again just to see what happens if I just line it up in the lines. And actually, I mostly just need in the middle, so I'm not even going to stamp the whole thing, although I did ink up, well, I kept the whole thing. I might as well do it, otherwise I'm going to have a mess to clean up. So yeah, I can use my hand. Actually, it's a little more stable with your hands, but I guess you could probably use the eraser too. And now that I know it's not even going to be on the table. Oh, you guys, look at that. So even just drawing the lines and putting it back where I think it went, it's stamped. And I have it's still not solid. Maybe it's designed that way. I don't know. But it lined back up again beautifully. Look at that. Oh, I'm going to make a card with that one now too. Okay. I need to put this away because it's going to be a big mess. Just a minute. I was just going to pull it off. But what did I do? There we go. But that's not a good idea. So these chamois are the cat's meow. So we used to have the Stampin' Scrub, and I still have a Stampin' Scrub, and I like my Stampin' Scrub. But for something like this, the Stampin' Scrub is not going to work. So definitely chamois, baby wipe, yes, that would work as well. I made this stamp very wet. I really should have wrung that chamois a little better. Okay. I predict now that we are going to go slightly over because I'm just getting started, man. Okay. So one of the other things I'll show you real quick. Let me see what else I was doing. And then I'm going to use the small thing, and then okay, I got like 3 more. I think I have 3 more things to show you. Yes, and one of them I'm just going to try because it's like, ooh, I wonder, because that's how I roll. Okay, so you know how I said that you could use this for labels, right? Well, one of the other things that works like a charm, and this is the stamp set. So I gotta move a couple things here. It comes with these great dies. But look at this stamp set. I know, it's called Cutest Crew, and it should be called Freaking Adorable Crew. Cats, dogs, birds, and there's even a couple butterflies in there. It is so adorable. So adorable. So I stamped it. And again, I didn't do this on purpose. This is just why this is so good, because it happens no matter what. Sometimes I nail it. And if I do, I'm just like, if I'm giddy, if I get my stamping thing exactly perfect. So I stamped it and I put the die around it and I die cut it. Right. And it looked, I'm like, I got this lined up, put my little piece of tape on it. So when I put through the machine, it didn't move. And when I popped it out, look how well I did. Right? Like, look at how nicely, perfectly spaced that all is. Nice. Till you get to this end. Wah, wah. Right? So it looked like it is, but obviously I had this end was just enough off that it starts to get less and less at this end. Is this the end of the world? No, you could certainly use this. Bugs me though. But if I was doing a lot, and I learned this from my fearless leader, Tamara, because this is what she does at classes too. But if you're making swaps or you're just making a bunch of cards, or you just know these things are adorable, and I have one card that I want to put like 4 of them on. So, but you could do this, right? So I could put, I'll show you the stepping in a minute, but so here's the piece that I originally stamped, right? Or yeah, I stamped it and then I die cut it. So this was just a scrap, and I purposely did it right in the middle. Normally I would be off to the side, but I purposely did this so I could show you this. So what you just need to put, I'm just putting it so that Happy Valentine's is not in the middle of it. So I'm going to pop this down as my template, and then I'm going to find the stamp. I have the plate leaning on me, and there we go. So here's the stamp that goes with it. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm sorry, but I have to like make it so I can actually see it. So I'm just going to line the stamp up where I think it goes. I can see through, especially now that I've stamped on it once. So if you're doing this with a brand new stamp once, because they're a lot easier to see when there's a bit of color on the stamp versus completely clear. Okay, so that looks like it is perfectly centered in there. We're going to find out for sure. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to pick up my stamp. Oh, see there, that time it stuck, despite the fact that I had already stamped. So it stuck a little bit. It doesn't really matter because I'm just going to put the paper back down. Then I'm going to take some espresso. And I'm going to stamp. Again, why with the sound effects? I don't know. So I'm going to put this down and I'm going to stamp. So now I can see that based on where this is going to stamp, because I don't have to move the stamp, I can see that once again, what is it with that flower? This flower is just a little too close for comfort. So I'm going to just adjust this just slightly. There we go. So now I have a nice even banner all the way around. I got even down there. So now this is where I want it to be. So now I take my little die cut and I pop it in there. And I ink my stamp up. Boom. And again, because it's not attached to anything. But if it turned out that I missed something, I could just pop it back into my template, right? And now I have my adorable dogs, but I don't have my wonky end. And the beauty of that is I can take the next one that I pre-cut. So you can sit and just crank. And I will tell you that because this die which is this die, is just an outline, like it's not detailed at all, it's just an outline. I cut 2 pieces of cardstock at a time. So I took my 2 pieces, and I think this might actually be thick white cardstock because I think it was a scrap left over from something. But I put these 2 together and cut 2 at a time. So I can run these through, I can cut 2 at a time. I can have 10 of them, and then as people need them or as I want to do them, I pop it in here, stamp it, pop it, stamp, right? It's genius. Genius, I say. So there's another one. That's just another sort of make your own template. Now, another fun technique, which is the repeating pattern. I'm knocking everything everywhere right now. But oh my God, this crew, oh God, these guys are so adorable. Oops, that's for the next one. Where'd my, forget, I'm looking, where is the stamp? Yeah, the stamp is under my arm where I'm holding this rack right now. So I'm gonna clean this off because I need to change plates. Because I know you're sitting there going, hey Tracy, what about the little plate? You ever gonna show us the little plate? Why, yes, I am. Right now I am. Okay, so this is our little plate, right? So it's got the 4 feet on it that wah, 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 wah. So on this side, I want to put my stamp. Actually, I'm not just going to randomly put it there. I'm going to place it, but dry that thing off and move it back over there. Do I need that one? Yes, I think I do. Okay, so one of the ideas I had for a card, and I saw, like in my head, it was just an idea, but then I saw a completed version of it that, oh, did I write it down? Stamptastic Designs, I want to say, I think is her name, did, and I was like, oh, I'm taking that idea. So she added this little thing. I wasn't going to add this on. She added this on. Oh my God, does that not make it perfect? So I want to do the stepping, right? Or the repeating pattern. So what I wanted to see, where'd my stamp go, was a row of these dogs going down my card. Now I've done this freehand before. I get my spacing wrong and they tend to go side to side. Sometimes I luck out and get them better, but so much easier this way. So I want rows like this on my card, right? So I'm going to turn my card sideways and I'm going to pop it in here, and I'm going to pop it up against these little pegs just so it moves less. I'm going to just pop that. I'm going to figure out where the thing is going to pick it up. I think I should be able to get 5 of these. And once again, I probably should have started or at least planned out ahead of time, but I didn't. I'm going to center this on the pegs because I think that's going to make a difference. So the ends of mine, I'm just guessing, I don't actually know. The ends of the cardstock, I'm centering like, so there's the same amount of overhang on either peg, because you're going to see we're using the pegs, right? So I think that's right. Okay, so this is where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to take my stamp. I was watching somebody else do this, and they kept trying to put these feet on the pegs. Maybe it's not super easy to see, but these are the spring. And there's 2 little holes above them. The 2 little holes are what goes on the peg. So you want to put the 2 little holes in, and then this. Now, it moves a little bit side to side, but if you put it down where it's straight, and if you need to, use your grid paper. But if you kind of have it straight against the bottom, then it's where you want it to be, right? So I have my little hole. So I'm going to pick up my stamp. And it did move this. Oh, apparently I didn't do a very good job cleaning or drying my stamp off after I cleaned it. So I forgot that I was supposed to put the magnets on. So I picked up my stamp. So this is where my stamp is going to go, right? Ooh, I got that paper way off from where I had it originally. If you screw up like me, because I screw up frequently, I haven't ruined anything yet. I flipped my paper over because I made a mess on the other side. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put this over here. So it's holding my paper, but it's not right where I need to stamp the first row. Okay. Now I can do this, but because this is the size it is, I can also do this, right? Actually, it would work better this way. So whichever, there's no rules, right? The bigger one, you're not going to be able to tap. The only thing is if you're doing this, like I have my stamp is quite close to the edge of this. I'm hitting these feet on the edge of my stamp pad. So I'm probably not getting like really good coverage. So I'm better off this way, but there's no, whatever works for you. If you do it and you don't have enough ink, well, put it down again. Okay, so I'm putting that down. So I'm just going to make sure I'm kind of squared up and I'm going to push. Oh, and I can tell right now, I don't think I have enough ink on that last flower. Oh, I don't have enough ink on any of those guys. Or I didn't push down there because there is nothing there. Yeah, I can tell looking through it though, this flower did not get inked up enough. Okay, so what I'm going to recommend then is don't push your little dude right up against there because you have magnets, it'll hold it somewhere else. Maybe in this case, make it so that you can put your stamp a little farther down so that, yeah, see, I made that all fuzzy. I don't like that. Oh, this was just wet. Now it's dry. I'm going to do it again. So yeah, I'm going to say maybe move a little bit away from the pegs. So in this case, and the thing is, so I'm going to draw on this, right? Just again, so I know where I put it, just because it helps me if it gets moved a lot. Just stuck my pen in my ink pad. And I'm going to put this down here, and I'm going to put this one a little bit farther up. So it doesn't matter. Like I don't have to label this or anything. It doesn't even matter what it's for. The next time I go to put a card down, I can use them or not. If not, it's just stuff in the way. And because I'm not really using the measurements that are on this piece of paper, I could just flip it over and use the metric side. It's not like I don't understand metric. And I'm not using measurements anyways. It's just paper. Okay, I'm going to do this again this time. Only this time, I'm going to keep this farther away so it's easier to ink up. So yeah, that's the first lesson we've learned. It is easier to ink up if you keep your stamp a little farther away from the edge. Okay, I should have made sure it was where I wanted it to be before I drew those lines. And again, I'm not even 100% sure. I just feel like I need to, so I'm going to draw it on the side this time. So now I know that those are where those were. Well, that ends up at the bottom, but okay. You'll see in a minute why I'm thinking I want to have this lined up between those pegs. Okay. See, I did it again. My sponges are way too wet. But you know what? I'm curious. I'm just going to go over top. So yes, this is definitely easier when it's a little bit farther away from the peg. So there's a find it out by screwing up your piece of cardstock way to find out things. So you're welcome. You don't have to screw up your cardstock. I'll screw up mine for you. It's not like I don't have more cardstock. Okay, now we're going to do this the easy way. It's a little wet. That's where I want it to go, but it's a little wet. I will use this for other things, but not this particular card, because this particular card is going to be so cute. I don't want it screwed up. So where'd my lines go? There's a line there, there's a line there. There's a line there. There we go. Pop my dude down, pop my dude down. So it's dry by now. It's not that's the problem. The problem is I can see the spots from where the water was. It dried up on the other side, but this time it didn't. So again, I guess I should show you. I didn't push down all the way on the end. Need to focus. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up again. So that was on peg number 2 and 3. So now I'm going to put my thing on peg number 3 and 4. Seriously, what am I doing wrong? I'm obviously just being a lazy inker because I'm not getting it the first try. Now I got to move my magnet. I'm going to do that now because if not, I'm going to forget and end up stamping on my magnet. I use a different part of the ink pad. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, so that was 3 and 4. So now I'm moving over one more set. Give a little extra there. See if I can get it the first try. Ta-da! I think that one's still fine. That magnet's not in the way yet. Ink up some more. I'm moving down one more set. Now, depending on what you were doing, you could skip a line and go every second one. It's that flower every time. Just keep missing that little, oh, I did that. I hit that one sideways, but that's okay because I'm covering that one up, so it doesn't matter. Well, I'm partially covering that one up. Okay, so I'm going to move this again because that's definitely too far down. And yes, we're on our last set. Oh, look at that. It did kind of work out. Okay, so I could use this as a, ooh, see, that's the good part about it not hitting as I drop it back on there. So when I did this one the lazy way and I just kind of pushed on one side, don't do that. I'm going to show you in a minute what happened. But so I have a little bit more on the top than I do on the bottom, which is not what I want. But this is what I did. We'll show you which dog I'm talking about. See if I can get it to focus. Because I pushed on the one side, I didn't go straight up and down. I went slightly off, so I got fuzzy. This one, when I had to push the second time, I pushed with like a hand on either side, so it went straight. And now I got the same as the one up there, right? So this is the mistake if you push with just one finger. So always two fingers, make sure your plate is going down straight and not off to the side. Now, as it turns out, so this card I didn't actually peel the backing off of yet, but as it turns out, what my plan for the card was. Now, this little die comes with the thing, and it's very adorable with the little footprints. I put adhesive back on it, so it makes it nice and easy. Now, if somebody really wanted to, they could take all these little stickers now and make their own little feet. I suspect that I do not have the patience for that, so it will likely not be me. Here's the other thing that works really well, though, just a totally unrelated tip, is if you end up with not all the pieces coming out, because this has the sticky sheet on it, you can just like carefully stick on the back. Some of them I have pieces in, some of them I have like the actual stick, the backing of the sheet itself did not come off for some reason. But if you go on the back and you try to touch as little as the surrounding area as possible, but you just tap the back, they'll all stick to your finger and pop out because the back of them is sticky. So that helps get little bits and pieces out. Okay, so I've got this cleaned off. Just got to make sure you get all the little white pieces, because if not, your foot's going to be white. So my plan was to put one of these along the bottom, so I can just put it right here. Actually, I got to move that down just a touch. And then my little guy that I colored, or that I die cut, I'm going to actually color this dude, and I'm going to pop him up on dimensional. So one of the things is raised. And so, but you got your rose, but isn't that cute? Oh my goodness, you're just adorable. And I could actually pop this up a little bit higher so that it's not covering that whole thing, because it's not too close to this guy. It just works out. But isn't that cute? So you have your little rose. Now I could do that with words. I could do that with leaves. I could do that with whatever I wanted to. It just like, come on, rows and rows of puppies. They're awesome. So, and that's what, like I said, that this is the beauty of this little plate. You could have, like when I was doing my my labels or my stamps, I could have set it up so it went this way. And I could have done it so that so instead of having my big bulky plate, I could have just put one word on here, and I could have done the same thing, and I could have gone around and around doing it that way. It doesn't matter. But if you're doing steps, like you're doing smaller ones, then by far this is definitely going to be the one that works the best. I'm going to try this because normally I would switch to the bigger plate, but I'm going to try it because I think it'll work. Seriously, got to make sure my chamois are not quite so wet next time. So yeah, with this, again, oops, I just like totally got my hand all over that one. You could do like stamping this way as well. Do I have something? Where'd my stamp go? No. Just a minute, I know I have a stamp, I just gotta think which one it was. There we go. I could take, this is Friendly Foliage. This came out in the, I'm gonna say November online exclusives. This is a super pretty stamp set. This is one of the ones where this stamp is really nice, and it has these dies that come with it. So you can stamp the stamp and cut just the outside out with one of the dies. You can leave this on a big sheet of paper, use this inside one and cut just the inside piece out. Or you could cut the whole thing out and have it as like with a frame. So this would be a great stamp to stamp on here, and make a template so that you could, if you were making multiple, so that you didn't have to try to line that up every single time. But what I was looking for is my fancy system for converting the old packaging to the new packaging. Is to use, like, you could use something like this, and I could go all the way across the back. Dook, 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 dook. And then I could go all the way down the bottom. Dook, 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 dook. Or in this case, because it's got like a slightly different, you could switch it. So you could do vertical stamps too. I'm going to try this. I'm not going to do it now because this can take longer and I'm already over. But you don't always have to be going the other way. Like, you could make it work this way as well. It's just a matter of which direction your stamp goes and which direction your card goes. Okay. So we're going to use, sorry, I am knocking everything everywhere. All of these will become cards later. You'll see them later. So one of the other things you can do, and it works better. Well, I'll do two of them. I'll quickly show you this. Okay, so the first one is if you wanted to do like your corners of your card. And we have some very corner specific stamps. I, unfortunately, don't have any of them. But we have ones that specifically make corners. But even if we don't have the ones that specifically make corners, I'm quite happy this carried over because it's a very pretty set. I think this one will work. Sometimes you just need a stamp that's like kind of slightly curved. So I'm going to do that. We're super close to the edge again, which when I tried, I watched everybody else try, they never had any issues with inking. So I think it's a me thing. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we're going to ink this up. See, this is why, like, I'm trying to use this. I would normally put this down on my template, which is what I'm going to do for the next one. But let's see how this works. So I got one. Because this is not designed as a corner stamp, I'm not actually sure what angle these are going to show up as. But what it's basically doing is it's making it evenly in each corner, right? So then I'm going to switch that one. There we go. That's all I got to do. Look at what I'm doing. It works. That one. Right. So this is, I don't even know, does this have a name? Oh, rotating image. I guess this would be a rotating image thing. I'm not sure who said that. I might have heard that phrase on the Stampin' Up video, I think. I just called it making a wreath. But you'll see why I call it making a wreath, or in this case, I would just call it corners. But you notice how, because this is like more awkward, I'm getting ink all over that thing as I'm doing this. But this is not coming anywhere close to even touching. So I don't have to worry about the ink being transferred on. But, and as you can see, like, it's working just fine with my clear mouth. Because as much as they're changing things over, you saw where I grabbed my stamp from. I know that people are still going to have cling stamps for years to come. I even have some wood stamps, not as many, but I still do. The wood stamp's not going to work on here. You'd have to unmount them, but so there we go. I have corners. So and like I said, if this was an actual corner stamp, it would, but even with this just being leaves, I like it. And then you can put your focal point in the middle. So one of the things, though, that I think is so much fun to do, and this is, I think, let me just double check my list. I'm pretty sure this is the last thing I'm going to show you, because I'm sorry we're over. First next step, series, boring straight from cleaning, ink spot, new sticky corner line between posts. Oh, don't forget, if you're making your cards, and I'll do it right now. Where's my envelope? If you have this set up, you know where this is going to hit. This doesn't matter which direction it goes. Well, because it always bugs me when I make cards and then I put everything away and I clean everything up, but I remember I didn't stamp on the envelope or the inside of the card. But it doesn't have to be fancy either. Okay, I just hit that on the way down. Oh, look at that, I didn't. But I could just go like this too, right? And stamp my envelope as I go. Just remember to do your envelopes and insides. That goes with one of the cards. What else was on my little checklist while I'm cleaning this off? So I really wrote down wreath, and then I wrote down rotating image. And so the first wreath, like the first wreath I did was not actually a wreath. I just called it that because it works great for doing that. Actually, I might just use the small one. I'll just keep going with this one. What else did I write down? Oh, two-step stamping. I wrote two-step, and then I didn't find out if I don't actually know if I have anything that is. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, sorry, I have two things to show you. Okay, two-step stamping. We'll do that one quickly because that goes faster. So I'm going to put this way because I need to be able to see what I'm doing better. Or do I? I don't actually think it matters. I'm going to go this way. I do like this little corner thing because it gives, I can push against it. It gives me something very definite for where my stuff was. Okay, so here's the beauty of this two-step stamping. And last I checked, this bad boy was still current. This stamp set has been around for, I don't know, 3 or 4 releases. Like this thing is just hanging in there. I absolutely love this stamp set, so I'm quite happy it's still hanging around. Okay, so I want a B on my card right about there. So I'm putting my paper down, I'm putting my card down, and then I'm doing that. And then I realize I have none of the right colors over here. Just a minute to make my B. Actually, this is awesome because this thing has 10 different things on it. Oh. Okay, so now I can take my little thing. Now, and this is another one of those ones where this is what I should have picked the first time. When I said big solid stamps that don't always stamp well. Okay, so I got this. So I'm going to stamp down. Of course, it stamped perfectly fine the first time. But if it didn't, I could go back and stamp again. Okay, so I'm going to clear that one off. Seriously, what do I do with the case? I'll put it over here. So I've got my B guy. These are very well loved stamps, and everything is moving. Okay, so I need a winky face at some point. I need his stripes. That's what I'm doing next. I need his wings. Okay, so now I want these, and when this is for being punched out, so you could do a bunch of these. Like you could set this up on here and have it to do it, and then punch them out, but you'd end up with them being where you want them to. Because when I was doing this, sometimes I would get this guy lined up just perfectly, and other times his butt was not, and it was driving me crazy. And I'm going to close this thing. Stand up so I can see what I'm actually doing. There we go. So without having to move everything. So now I've got his stripes where I want his stripes to be. Oops, I dropped the thing on him. So find those little holes. Sometimes I find this angle thing is just challenging me. There we go. So pick up his stripes. I probably could have done, actually, I think I can. So where's his stripes are going to go there. And then his little cute bee face is going to go there. Yep, I think I can. I haven't actually tried, but what the heck, right? This is what this is all about. Let's play. Just make sure, because the bigger stamp is getting hit, I got to make sure that his face is actually getting hit. Okay, so now we're going to go down. We're going to have, do that a little bit because that's a lot of black. Oh my God, look how well that worked. And his cute little winky face, just so adorable. Okay, so now I have one more to go. I'm going to try. Oh no, it doesn't work. Okay, so here's the one thing that I liked better about the Stamparatus is you could flip the plate over, so you could have like his body lined up on one side, flip it over, stamp his stripes. Take the next card, body, stripes. So we definitely need more plates, because I was going to say, what if I flip this over? But if I flip this over, I don't have any springies. Or even if it had holes on both ends so that I could pop it this way, like down, obviously, but. Okay, well, you know what? Because I live on the edge, I'm going to try this. Because what I want to do is I want to keep this lined up for the next, if I was making multiples, but I want to be able to put this guy down. Well, let's find out what happens. So if I do it this way, I still need the springy thingies though, but I just don't have anything to anchor. So I'm going to do this. What am I anchoring on? That's the question. Okay, so I'm going to line up and I'm going to make marks. Like I said, we're winging it. This time I'm going to put arrows so I actually know which line I'm lining up with. So I'm lining up this thing from my angle, at least, looks like it is falling like perfectly between those two lines. So I'm going to put it back where I think it goes. Looks lined up. I'm going to pick up my wings. Ooh, that was lucky. This was so close to stamping on here. It didn't quite, but it was close. This is not how it's meant to be used, but I like to find ways to make things work. So for what I want, so I'm just trying it. Okay, so now I got that again. And I got those again. And the beauty of this is it's not actually touching anything. I'm going to move this over just in case, but it's not actually touching anything. So that is awesome. Okay, so that answered two questions. If the magnet is in the way of the stamp, it definitely, like I could feel that it wasn't hitting, but it was far enough away it worked. Okay, so that worked. I could do that. Now, can I line it up that way every time? I don't know. In this case, though, what I want to do, oh, that doesn't work. I wanted to do a second set of wings that were lighter with like the second generation. So I'm just going to do this. Point. Yep, that worked. Okay, so you can do it. It's probably not going to be guaranteed every time, but look at how cute my little bee is. Two-step stamping. Boom. Okay. Now I'm just going to move these off to the side because I'm not actually using this piece this time. Now I'm going to take last one. I promise we're so over on this. I'm going to take this one, and this is not the right size of paper or anything. I'm putting it over top of these little holes. Oh, see, as I think of things as I go, I really don't. I just wing it and then I think of things. So what if I went like this and pushed over top? Because, oh, look at that. So now it kind of holds on. I mostly just put it over top of the holes because I wanted it to be even at the bottom, because if it's not even at the bottom, it's going to bump me. There we go. Oh, look at that. That's going to work. No need to be fancy. Okay, so this works best with I guess you could do it with a circle. If you traced a circle in here, that would work as well. This is a slightly smaller piece of cardstock, but I think it'll work for today's purpose. So here's how. No, you know what? I'm gonna lose track as I'm like midway. So just a second here. What size is this? Nope, not that one. It is this one. It's the one I thought it was. Okay, so this must be, is this 3 3/4 or 4? 3 3/4. I'm just going to trim one of these down. So this is a standard inside layer, but I'm just going to trim it to make it, that end is not at all even. What is going on there? It was meant to be trimmed down. Okay, so now I have a square that matches the square. There we go. I'll just make it a little bit easier. Okay, so here is, and this is the beauty thing if you're doing stuff like Christmas stuff. I was going to use that stamp set, but now that I said Christmas, I think, do I want to try with the other one? I'll just stick with the same one. This is so pretty. I was really hoping it would work. Because again, I didn't try it. What did I do with my stamp? There it is. Okay, so we're going to do this. And the goal is to make a wreath. And sometimes this is trial and error. Sometimes it just works. What did I do with the other plate? There it is over there. Oh, I did it again. These magnets look like they're like where they're supposed to be when they're sitting off to the side, but I keep forgetting to actually put them to hold the paper down. Okay. So we're going to do this. I finished looking at my list. I think I did. Oh, nope. I got one more thing I forgot to show you. Okay, so if you wanted to do heat embossing in different colors, I'm going to show you as I go because I don't want to take up all the time. Nope, I got to do them separate, or then I'll screw things up. Okay, so I did one, right? So all I did was I made 2 squares just so it gives me more spots. So instead of just doing 4 corners, I'm actually doing 8. I'm not doing 8 corners. I'm just doing 8 turns on my rotating stamp. Now these are going to overlap, but the beauty of the overlapping is it makes it lighter and darker in spots. Right, so all I did was made this like fancy little template, which is 2 squares. And if you did a circle, then oops, I'm rushing, so I'm knocking it. If you used a circle, then just trace. You don't have to trace. You don't have to trace 2 circles. Just trace your circle, so that your card goes in the same spot every time. And then you just have to eyeball it, I guess, and turn it like a bit at a time, or put like a mark in one corner so you can kind of make it like a clock. But I would imagine it would work with, I've only ever tried it with a, oops, I jumped one. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just changing it each time I'm moving one more. And here's the good part. Because it's going to take too long, I'll finish this afterwards. But okay, so you see how I'm making my wreath, right? Okay. I'm going to, where'd my thing go? There it is. I'm going to take this one off. I will finish it. And just so I remember what I'm doing, I'm going to close this ink pad. I'm going to put this stamp on top of it. So I remember that that's what I was doing with that one. And I'm going to get garden green. Nope, garden green is totally the wrong color for what I'm doing. I'm doing an oak leaf. An oak leaf is yellow. That's how yellow go. So I'm going to take this leaf and I'm going, it goes a slightly different direction. And I'm going to move it just down in front a little bit. And I'm going to pick it up. So you could do this with just like a single one, right? I'm going to pick it up. Stamp it. And then, because I only did half the thing, I got to go backwards now. But pretend I'm doing like the full thing, right? I'll just drag the magnets along with me. So you can see I can add as many layers as I want. So I would do this, and then I would actually do probably a third one and do it just on the out, like kind of on the outside. So this is my base, and then I've got this yellow leaf going here, and then I would probably do another one. Now, if I was doing this with like pine boughs, whereas all pine boughs, you might offset it a little bit and do it a second time just to make a fuller wreath. The other thing you can do, and this original one, underneath it, there's a coffee cup on it, which was from the Always Nothing Better Than, I think it was called. I think that's what the name, and that, or no, Yeah, and it's got like a little retro coffee cup on it. So when I did the coffee cup one, the coffee cups didn't overlap. Like I had one coffee cup, like I just had 8 of them going around in a circle, but they didn't overlap. They just made a circle of coffee cups. So to give you an idea what I mean, pick this one up. I need one more time. I'm gonna have all my ink on my desk by the time I'm done because I'm not putting any of it away. I'm just throwing it off to the side. I don't know. This might not be a very juicy ink pad because that barely. Oh, that did. Okay. So I'm going to take this, and so I'm just same thing. I'm just doing one turn each time. You could, if you wanted to, you could skip. You could do every second one, or whichever, however you want to do it. But because this is a smaller image, it's not overlapping, right? Like if I did this, all 8 of them, I would just have, you know what I mean? So you can use this to make like a wreath, or you can just use it to, oh, that's, well, that's the wrong size, but I think I can make it work. I'll just about put my ink pad down, ink side down on my desk. And then, so this works better if you actually line it up. Like if you actually have the lines, because right now I'm just guessing that I'm giving a nice even background around it. I'm behind. I have one more technique and then we're done. But see how I can do this? So I can, and then I'm turning myself sideways again. Again, I'm just trying to, because my paper is smaller than my template, I'm just making sure that I have even sides around it. Right? So these are not overlapping. You're just going to get a cute little circle of acorns in the middle of your card. Okay, this time I promise, now that I remembered what I was doing, I have one more technique. I looked at my list again. This is perhaps one of the better uses for this bad boy. Oh, I'm just so stoked that that actually worked to just push down on it. Just a minute. I need a couple things. I'm not actually going to do the heat embossing. Fear not. But the other thing that this is super helpful for, and I almost forgot, is heat embossing. So we have 6 colors. We have white, black, clear. I guess clear is not really a color. White, black, clear, gold, silver, copper, or bronze. I can't see. I can't remember. One of those. 3 metallic, 3 colors. But you know that you can stamp, or that you can heat emboss in whatever color ink you have, right? Just by putting, I guess, I don't know. See, I got to get used to this because this is definitely the better way to do it. I just have to get used to that being the better way to do it. I'm going to grab this one because it's big. Yeah, you can pretty much heat emboss in whatever color you stamp in by just putting clear over top of it, right? The color shows through below. Okay, so I'm gonna do, I need yet another ink pad. Okay, so that's where it works to this one is still, I use this one a whole bunch, it's still sticky. Okay, so I've got my little dude stuck to my plate, and I'm going to stamp up in shaded spruce, a nice deep green. We love shaded spruce. Side a little bit, and I'm going to go down. See, this is in my way. I'm going to go down. I'm going to make sure I hit all the edges. If I don't, there we go. If I don't, I can just go back and do it. Now this, because this ink is not Versamark, sorry, I'm going to take the lid off. I like to be ready with my Versamark. Oops. It's not going to stick to this color per se. You need Versamark to make it stick, right? But thanks to the lovely stamp positioner, I can stamp exactly where I want to in Versamark. But seriously, I have to wash the stamp and then I have to dry the stamp because I make my chamois too wet. So now I can go without moving it. I can go over the same one in Versamark. And I'm stamping the exact same part I just stamped the other one in. Versamark. Versamark's harder to see and it's definitely sticky, but you can kind of see the shine. So you can kind of see if you missed anywhere. You do know though that if you're wrong, like if you think, oh, that looks good, but you did end up missing a spot, after you heat emboss, you can put it back in, stamp over top of it again, put more powder on it, and do it a second time. But you should be able to find out pretty quick. You got pretty good coverage going there. So now I can put my powder on it. Versamark is actually stay sticky for a while, but I'm always paranoid. I always like to have everything ready so that I can get it right away. So now I can put my powder on. And once the powder's on, I can see like it's made just about everywhere fuzzy. I don't see anywhere that's not fuzzy. So, but now when I heat emboss clear, the green's going to show through, right? So that's how you, this went on a sidetrack to a heat emboss lesson, but that's how you heat emboss a color other than the ones we have. And it's, you can do that with with your positioning because it will stamp, rascal, it will stamp in the same spot both times. So you stamp in color, clean off your stamp, stamp in Versamark, powder, boom, green. Isn't this a pretty stamp? It's just gorgeous. So I will do the heat embossing afterwards because one, it's very light, and two, it's loud. So there you go. I'm going to try not to knock this until I'm done with it. So we have heat embossing. We have multiples in a repeating pattern other than straight up and down. We can make a wreath out of it. We can do some two-step stamping. We got our corners. We got our verticals. We got background stamps. We have just stamp positioning in general. And we have stamping on labels, which I put away and so I can't show you. Stamp positioning tool. Trust me, it is a fun thing to play with, and it will also help you out in your day-to-day stamping. So I'm going to finish these all and make them all as cards later. And I'm going to heat emboss this one so you can see the end result. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If you have any questions about the join offer, excuse me, or being a demo in general, just let me know. I am happy to chat. Always love to talk about stamping. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. Ooh, an extra 35 minutes. What was I thinking? All right. Take it easy. Have a great week. We will be back with something new next week. Bye.